Can we turn the weather into a weapon? I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But what if I told you that manipulating the skies above us isn't just scientifically possible, but it's actually a reality that's been quietly unfolding for decades? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking some truly incredible and, honestly, kind of dangerous source material about the sheer power of atmospheric manipulation. We are basically opening Pandora's box today. We're shifting our focus from the ground we walk on to the clouds floating right above our heads to really dig into the reality of weather modification. Here is our agenda for today. 1. The science of cloud seeding. 2. Weather as a weapon. 3. The race for rain. 4. Accusations of rain theft. And 5. The butterfly effect. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The science of cloud seeding. Understanding atmospheric manipulation. So this whole concept traces back to a pivotal 1946 discovery by scientists Vincent Schaefer and Bernard Vonnegut. They realized humans could actually intervene in the behavior of clouds. And today, the process usually works like this. First, aircraft fly into specific, already existing clouds and drop a chemical called silver iodide. This chemical acts as a catalyst. It rapidly increases the water density inside that cloud. The water droplets bind together, getting heavier and heavier until the cloud literally can't hold the weight anymore, and heavy precipitation falls to the ground. It's essentially squeezing rain out of the sky on demand. Though I should mention, the environmental risks and the potential toxicity of using chemical agents like silver iodide are still a topic of really serious debate. Section 2. Weather as a weapon. Historical military applications. As with a lot of scientific breakthroughs, it didn't take long for the military to see the strategic potential here. From that initial discovery in 1946, we jumped to the Vietnam War between 1967 and 1973. The U.S. military realized they might not need to rely solely on bombs anymore. They could use mud. They controversially used cloud seeding over the Ho Chi Minh Trail to force these massive, unseasonal downpours, which turned enemy supply routes into total swamps. This was an alarming escalation of weather warfare, and it absolutely terrified the global community, leading directly to a 1977 UN treaty that strictly banned environmental modification for military purposes. $3.5 million. That was the staggering annual cost of the U.S. military's cloud seeding operation in Vietnam. It really highlights the massive financial scale and the deep commitment the military had toward weaponizing the weather. They were quite literally buying rain to win a war. But weather modification wasn't only used for offense. Let's look at the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear disaster. Highly radioactive particles were released into the atmosphere, and they embedded themselves into the clouds. As those highly radioactive clouds moved toward a heavily populated Moscow, the Soviet Union used this exact same cloud seeding technology, but this time as a desperate defense shield. They forced the radioactive rain to fall early over much less populated areas before it could ever reach the capital. It's a striking example of manipulating the weather to mitigate an environmental catastrophe. Section 3. The race for rain. Modern civilian applications. Now, while military applications were banned, civilian applications have absolutely exploded. Take the 2008 Beijing Olympics. China didn't just hope for good weather, they commanded it. They fired 1,000 rockets directly into the clouds surrounding the city, forcing all the rain to fall before the opening ceremony even began. By entirely emptying the clouds, they practically guaranteed perfect clear skies for their global event. Incredible, right? And the investments into this tech are only growing. $1.5 million. That is the massive research grant the United Arab Emirates put on the table for anyone who can improve cloud seeding technology. By 2014, the UAE was funding hundreds of cloud seeding flights a year. For a nation dealing with severe internal droughts, the ultimate goal is national water security. They want to capture atmospheric water to turn the desert green. And to achieve this, they are planning something absolutely monumental, constructing a massive artificial mountain. Because mountains naturally push humid air upward, building one would force that air up the artificial slopes. Once elevated, it cools and condenses into clouds. Then aircraft can fly in to seed those newly engineered clouds to produce rain. They're talking about fundamentally altering the physical geography of the Earth just to manufacture a weather system. Section 4. Accusations of rain theft. A new geopolitical battleground. So the crucial point here is that engineering weather locally creates immense political tension globally. Why? Because clouds don't respect national borders. In 2018, an Iranian general publicly accused Israel of stealing their rain, claiming Israel was intentionally seeding and emptying clouds before they could cross into Iranian airspace. And a very similar dispute is brewing in Asia right now. India has raised serious concerns over China's cloud seeding operations near the Tibetan Plateau. If China pulls the water out of the sky before it can feed rivers flowing into India, well, India's water supply is directly threatened. Water disputes are rapidly moving from rivers on the ground to clouds in the sky.
Because of all this, resource security has fundamentally evolved. Traditionally, conflicts over groundwater involved things like damming rivers or border disputes. But sky water? That is a completely new category of conflict. We are now dealing with modern tensions involving the emptying of clouds and the alteration of wind patterns. The resource we rely on is floating right above us, and nations are trying to figure out how to claim it before it blows over to their neighbors. Section 5. The Butterfly Effect. Unintended environmental consequences. The thing is, manipulating local weather has deeply unpredictable macro-level impacts on our entire planet. You've probably heard of the butterfly effect. It's the concept that a small, localized change can cause massive, unpredictable shifts in a larger complex system. Think back to the UAE's Artificial Mountain Project. If you build a new mountain or artificially alter rainfall in one region, you are fundamentally changing the atmospheric pressures and global wind currents that dictate the weather for the rest of the world. A small change in the Middle East could theoretically cause a drought or a flood on the exact opposite side of the planet. And nature doesn't always behave the way we engineer it to either. The United States once tried to use cloud seeding to weaken massive Atlantic hurricanes by injecting silver iodide directly into the storms. Now, the wind speed actually decreased, which seemed like a huge success at first, but mysteriously, the storm's overall destructive power remained exactly the same. It proves that even our most advanced attempts to control immense natural forces yield very confusing and potentially dangerous results. We're kind of trapped in a dangerous cycle right now. First, massive global institutions emit immense amounts of carbon, significantly contributing to global warming. Second, this warming fundamentally disrupts our climate, causing severe droughts and volatile weather. And third, to combat this extreme volatility, nations turn to things like cloud seeding to artificially fix the weather. So we are polluting the planet, breaking natural systems, and then trying to hack those broken systems with chemicals and rockets. We really have opened a Pandora's box of climate control. We're shifting from an era of humanity fighting over terrestrial rivers to a new, somewhat terrifying era of fighting over the clouds themselves. Weather modification has evolved from a scientific curiosity back in 1946 to a tool of war, a mechanism for mega events, and now a catalyst for geopolitical water theft. I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to chew on. If we turn the very climate into a weapon, is it a weapon in favor of humanity or against it? It's a profound question that we're all going to have to answer as the race to control our skies accelerates. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep looking up and stay curious.